How's everybody doing today? You're watching Slot Car Mayhem. I'm John, and this will be episode 3, part C of New to Carrera. And today we're going to talk about getting this little screen here up to a large screen mounted up on the wall or what have you. First off, I want to apologize for taking so long to get these videos out to you. It's been very busy around here over the summer. I've had a lot of construction going on over at the house and a lot of little things like that. But I have done some work on the track system, so we'll update you on that. And second, I'd love to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. It's Christmas morning, 2019. It's about 5:30 in the morning, so it's been pretty busy around here. But I wanted to take some time, get this last video out to you guys here real quick in the New to Carrera series. And I'm sure some of you have questions on how to connect this to that. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Okay, I'm sure as everybody can hear in the background, I've got the Smartrace running, and you can see it on here, and the video seems to be pretty good.
3, 2, 1, go!
And so does the audio. I no longer have any stuttering or chopping issues getting this thing attached, and we'll go through some of those in a minute. But connection methods are pretty simple. If you have an HDMI connection or an HDMI output on your device, you can just simply plug in an HDMI cable, run it up to the big screen, and you're fine, you're good to go. You won't have any issues. If you're like me and you're unfortunate enough to not have any HDMI output, you're going to have to rely on some sort of casting method to do a screencast from what's on your screen here up to the big screen, and that can present some unique challenges, and I'll go through some of the issues that I've had. First off, when I first tried this with the Smartrace and the screencasting, it seemed to work pretty well when I had this system upstairs in my office on the floor. I was right there by the router. I didn't have any problems with it whatsoever. However, when I brought everything down here and I tried to do this, well, I started running into quite a bit of issues with audio stuttering, and the video was very blocky and choppy. So I had to set out and try to find some solutions to try to fix that. And me being me, I was trying to keep everything into a wireless solution, because really I don't want to have to hook this up to anything to use it. I just want to keep it in my pocket or what have you. So I'm really getting spoiled to the wireless features of the Carrera Digital, and I'm trying to keep the flow in this with wireless. So, okay, I was having casting issues. How were they addressed? Well, the first thing I tried to do is, since I'm running Android and I'm casting through the Google Home app to a Chromecast, that's how I'm doing my screencasting. The first thing I did was I picked up a Ethernet adapter for the Chromecast, and I ran an Ethernet cable to the router to see if that was going to fix my issue. Well, it worked a little bit, but it didn't provide a good enough solution by itself. So I said, okay, I've got to try something else. And then I tried using an OTG cable on this Android device and run an Ethernet cable directly to the router. However, doing so worked just fine, except I couldn't cast the screen via the OTG cable or via Ethernet. It had to be through Wi-Fi. So I was still kind of stuck with connection issues to the Chromecast, and I just kept working away with it, and I came up with a solution that actually worked very, very well. Okay, the solution presented itself when all of a sudden the internet port on the router I had, which is this one, finally went bad. So I was forced to buy a new router and put back up. Now, just so you know, the primary router in this house is located half a house that way and a floor up. So that's a lot of the reason why I've been experiencing direct connection issues. So I said, well, since I had to get another router, can I do anything with my old one? So I started searching around, and I'm going to provide the link to it in the description. There's an excellent tutorial on how to take an old router and to use it sort of like a slave or an extender for your primary router, and it's wired directly via Ethernet. And this here, with the addition of this second router down here, which stays under the track, has solved 99% of these issues. It's worked very well, it's reliable, and as you can hear, the audio isn't choppy or blocky or anything. It seems to work extremely well. Looking on the back of the router, you can see I've got a few wires connected here. But first, if you notice, the internet port is not connected. This port is bad, so there's no sense connecting it anyway. It's not needed. However, this first cable here, that's the one that goes directly to the primary router, and that's what takes care of the connectivity. This here, even though I don't need it, I'm still using the Ethernet adapter on the Chromecast, so this is my connection for that. I figured I had it, I may as well use it. It was already in the system, why ignore it, right? This third cable, this here happens to be for a Philips Hue hub, which we'll get to here probably in another episode. I'm sure you can see the blinking yellow light here. This blinking yellow light is telling me that this router does not have a connection to the internet port, which is perfectly fine. It's not necessary. Once again, I do recommend you check out the link that I provided in the description for this tutorial on how to do this. It's an excellent source, and it's a great tutorial actually. However, the basic premise of what we're doing with the secondary router is the first thing we need to do is set this to a static IP. After you set the primary router to accept the static IP, this gets set to a specific address, which will be different from its native address. So that's something you need to generally do last. Also, the dynamic client host protocol DHCP settings are disabled for this router. The reason why is you don't want two routers both with DHCP. So this one here, the DHCP has been disabled. Other than that, I hooked them up, connected them up, everything fired right up. This has a different SSID or broadcast name than the primary router, so I know which one I'm connecting to. And the primary router is on channel number 1. This one here is set to channel number 11. They're both on the 2.4 gigahertz system, and that keeps the spread quite a bit away. If you've got an old 5 gig router you want to do this with, and you have the ability to connect 5 gig with your device, then go for it. You'll probably be better off because the Bluetooth, both for the connectivity to the App Connect and the wireless controllers, all those are also on 2.4 gigahertz. So if you've got the ability to go with the 5 gigahertz connection, you're going to be better off. I'm sure, as you can see on the control unit by the one little light here, I am connected. I can go ahead and call for caution, and I can restart a race.
3, 2, 1, go!
And you can hear the audio is very solid. And when I'm racing, I use the weather plug-in, and there's little icons for sunshine and tire changes and things like that, and they move very fluid and very smoothly. One thing that should be noted is I know quite a few people who are casting with a Samsung Galaxy Tab A, and none of them have expressed any connectivity issues with it. I think it's a superior device than my little phone here, and that probably solves a lot of the issues on its own. So if you want to go ahead and use a tablet, chances are you're going to have better success than I have using the phone. However, I'm actually going to be getting rid of this phone in the future, and I'm going to go with a single board computer solution. My logic is this: if I have an Android device, I'm going to use it for as many different things as I can, my phone being no exception. I've got extra phones laying around and I use them for all sorts of things, and I know if I get a tablet, I'm going to be using the tablet for everything else too, and I'll have to bring it down here when I want to run. That's not what I want to do. A single board computer I will be able to just leave attached to the track. When I turn the track on, the computers will boot up and they'll automatically go and do what I want. So that's going to be in the future. Once I'm getting the rest of my systems in place, then I'll start with the single board computers and I'll migrate those in. Just so you know, I have tried a Raspberry Pi. It was actually the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, and I found a build of Android that I could install on there, and I got the Smartrace on there. I just sideloaded it, and actually it worked fine. Didn't have a problem with it. Where the problem started to come in though was if you run the plugins with Smartrace, you have to have the Play Store installed. That's what it uses to say, okay, you own or don't own a particular plugin. So installing the Play Store on the Raspberry Pi really slowed things down and made it a lot bulkier and harder to use than I would have liked. So I abandoned the Raspberry Pi idea, and I'm going to be going with a much more powerful single board computer that has Android built in natively. And there's reasons why I want to use Android only, and we'll get to those in another episode. But for now, the phone is temporary, and the connection for a single board computer will be directly through HDMI, but the single board computer will be built into the table, so that's not a problem. Okay, my connections and everything else, like I said, are still wireless, and I'm using the Chromecast on the big screen. I've got the big screen set up right now. It's a 43-inch, and I've got the TV set up for game mode, but I've got the brightness turned down almost all the way for night running. For daylight visibility, it seems to be just fine. The blacks are very dark. There's good contrast, and the colors may be a tad bit off, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You can tell what they are, and they look good when you're looking at them with the naked eye. Everything seems to work real good. One thing to consider, though, when you hang your screen, is you got to know what you're doing with your track. And in this case here, this is not the completed layout by any means. That's going to be coming fairly soon, but these are going to be up on risers, of course. So one thing I am going to do is I'm going to drop this screen down probably to about here, about that level. I'll know the exact level I want it once I get the track up on its risers. And the reason why is as if you're going by, you don't want to have to look up and look away from your car to see the screen. So keep it in your field of view the best you can. Just keep that in mind when you're hanging a screen for use as a race monitor. Okay, well, I guess that pretty much sums this up. This will wrap up episode 3, part C of New to Carrera, and I do believe this is going to wrap up the New to Carrera series as well. I'm going to continue build series under the Glendale 65. The next thing I'm going to be starting with is the lighting system. That's one thing I have been working on. Show you a little bit of that there. See the lighting system. And the lighting system itself is not complete yet. However, I'm still installing lights as we go. But that's going to be a whole completely different episode. And actually what I'm doing with it is pretty cool. So stand by for that. That'll be under the Glendale 65. And like I said, this will probably wrap up the New to Carrera. Unless you guys need to see something, I'll see if I can post a video. And because I understand the pain points and struggles of just starting out with the Carrera system. There's a lot of things to learn and a lot of things you may not know intuitively when you get started. So that's part of why I've been doing this series, because I'm trying to just share some of the pain points I've experienced and what I've been able to work through and things like that. So if you guys have anything, just let me know and I'll see what I can do, and we'll see if we can get through this together. Until then, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, and let's keep the guide flag in the slot, and have fun with your cars, spend time with your family, and enjoy this holiday season. And once again, thank you for your support. I appreciate all my subscribers, and like I said, if you need anything that you want to see, just let me know and I'll do the best I can to get it up to you. Thanks for watching. You have a great day.